ओम तब कथामृतम तप्त जीवनम कविभिडीरितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमंगलम श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भुरिदा जना। Let us resume our discussion on Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual discourses. Held in the house of Girish Chandra Ghosh on his way to see Brishaketu drama in Star Theatre on 25th of February 1885. Sri Ramakrishna was discussing the strict moral conduct of both sannyasins and householders, because both are present in the congregation. On the one hand, he said the sannyasins are supposed to set a model in the society. A sannyasin keeps his body in order to teach mankind. It's an important statement he gives. Traditionally, the sannyasins are supposed to delink his consciousness with his physical body. But then, here he says, सन्यासी का शरीर धारण लोक शिक्षा के लिए है। इसलिए कहा जाता है, for a sannyasin, it is not enough to lead a pure life, but it should appear as pure also. He may be very pure, but outwardly also he should appear as a pure person. That is, he should follow the dictates of renunciation, the detachment from the snares of the world. So this we have discussed at length, that there are eightfold ways of enjoyment, seeing and touching, etc. All the sannyasin has to be, they have to renounce all of them. Now Sri Ramakrishna here is saying, however, the householders they are not supposed to follow such strict discipline. So having said the strict norms of the sannyasins, and we have to understand the sannyasins are supposed to set a model for the householders to follow. So the householders require the sannyasins to set up the model. So it is their duty also to maintain the sanctity of the sannyasins. This is important. That the householders should maintain their responsibility also to protect the sannyasins, their purity and sanctity. And at the same time, Sri Ramakrishna is holding the responsibilities of householders also. This is unique. So far, the model of renunciation used to be upheld for the sannyasins alone. Those who want to realize God, they should maintain these ideas of renunciation. Tyage naike amritattva manashuhu. Now Sri Ramakrishna here is giving a wonderful opportunity for the householders also to realize God. गृहस्थ भक्त कैसे समाज में रहते हुए गृहस्थ का कर्तव्य है वो पालन करते हुए ईश्वर को प्राप्त करें, इसका निदान भी श्री रामकृष्ण ने दिखाया. Here is his unique contribution. Realization of God is not meant for sannyasins alone. So far it used to be thought that if you want to realize God, one has to give up their hearth and home and follow the path of renunciation. But here he says that those who follow the path of renunciation, they have a double responsibility. Atmana mokshartham jagadhitaya cha. They have to have their self-emancipation and for the benefit of the world, good of the world. So their life should be used as an illustration for the householders to replicate. And that responsibility should be shared by the household. So this is a joint venture. दरवाजा बंद कर दिया जाए, सबने बोला लॉक कर दो. There should be a joint venture, because we have to understand the sannyasins and householders are complementary to each other. The sannyasins are necessary for the householders. If there are no sannyasins, then where do the householders get the inspiration from? They need a model. So the sannyasins are necessary for the householders, and is not only necessary, we have to maintain the sanctity of the sannyas. The sanctity of the sannyas is to be maintained both by the sannyasis and householders. Similarly, the householders are also necessary to maintain the sannyasins. The sannyasins do not have any source of income. They are being fed by the society. If these householders are not there, who is going to maintain their body and mind? And they can, in return of the benefit they get from householders, they are supposed to maintain a life. That's what he said. Sannyasin lives for the demonstration for the householders. कि लोक शिक्षा के लिए सन्यासी की जरूरत है. So they have to maintain. And on the other hand, each one has a different code of conduct. That is important. The code of conducts are different. For sannyasi, it is very strict. Sri Ramakrishna is, in his inimicable way, giving an example of observing the Ekadasi fast by way of illustrating what is the difference. The difference is in the degree of strictness of discipline. Whereas the sannyasis have the strictest discipline. ये बंद नहीं हो सकता है क्या? बाहर से बंद कर दो. जिनको जाना है एक दफ़े चले जाइए, आवागमन मत करें, इसमें डिस्टर्बेंस होते हैं. Sannyasin has a code of conduct, so as the householders. You have to understand, because they have to live together in the society. Now, what is the difference? As Sri Ramakrishna said, difference is in application. Like the Ekadasi fast, there are various ways we observe the fasting. One is Nirjala Ekadashi, fast without taking any food or drink, not even water. Fasting period, either the whole day, dawn to dusk, or 24 hours, whatever be the discipline, no intake, no oral intake is one way. And another, he says, Phalmul Khe Ekadashi is not so strict. You can take fruits and the sweets and roots. It's not total fast. One is without water, another is with some light refreshments in the form of fruits and roots. And third is Luchi Chakka Ke Upadeshi. Then that with the sumptuous food, but it is Ekadashi. Still, it is not taking rice, taking non-rice food, only puri, vegetables, etc. But then it is quite delicious. So now Sri Ramakrishna says, for a sannyasin, it is like Nirjala Ekadashi. They have to have complete detachment from sex and wealth. There is no compromise. And sex has 8 dimensions, as has been said. 8 dimensions, that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Keli, then Prekshanam, Guhyabhashanam, Sankalpa, Adhyavashayachaiva, Kriya Nishpatti Revacha. One is the actual sex activity and other is preparations, seeing, touching, talking in this privacy, etc. So all the 8 varieties are debarred for sannyasi. This not a single entry without any water. Whereas for the householders, now those who are married, they can have these company of the women, have sex for all 8 varieties. They are allowed, but not forever. That is important discipline. Householder is not supposed to have full sexual activity throughout their life. Sri Ramakrishna is very here. There has not been anywhere so specific instruction for householders. We have to understand. Sri Ramakrishna as if came for the householders. He wants to ensure that the householders realize God, even while staying in the household, even while maintaining their wife and children. He is never saying that you are to give up your wife and children, but with restriction. It must be Ekadashi also. They must observe fasting also. What is that fasting? Fasting is that they must abstain from complete sexual activity of all 8 varieties. And they are supposed, because they have taken this householder's life in order to maintain the society, in order to procreate children, but not unending number. 1 or 2. He gives this quantification, जो कि आज के जो इस ज़माना में जो नारा है, छोटी परिवार सुखी परिवार, तो not more than 2. So, but anyway, he is telling nevertheless the householders have a duty to their wife also. But then he says that other 7 varieties of sexual activity is not so harmful for householders. They are staying in the society. They cannot get away from women. Among their people, among their household, they live people. They are allowed. So they are not sannyasins. They are allowed to stay in a much more convenient form, much relaxed norms, but not without any norm. That is important. So this has been very specifically said by Sri Ramakrishna and reproduced by M in the Gospel, that this has to be maintained. So now, as the sannyasin has no duty in the world, they have to just maintain a pure life. That's all. But the householders are given some relaxation, but they have added some responsibility. They are not in life very easy. They say there are 3 reins, there are 3 debts they have to incur. The householder has various debts, debts to the gods, debts to the fathers, and to the rishis. The householders have 4 debts. Rin, Dev Rin, Pitri Rin, Rishi Rin, and Stri Rin. The householder has a wife also. He has some debts to the wife, and he has some debts, some duties, responsibilities for gods, for their forefathers, for the saints, and for their wife. So, as has been said, this puja, offering gifts, offering worship to the gods, who does this? It is done by the householders. That is maintained as a part and parcel of the householder duties. They have to give the offer, the tarpan to their forefathers. It is prescribed. This tarpan, they offer food to our departed. Then they have to maintain the saints and seers and rishi, and also they have to maintain their wife. Now, what is the duty to the wife? It is very specific. The duty to the wife is that once he is married, it is their duty to have one or two children so that the procreation, the society continue. This is number one. Have one or two children. Number two, stop there. Don't proceed further. And then having stopped there, they have to maintain a relation of brother and sister. Number three. And number four, they have to maintain their wife provided she is chaste. It's very specific. If the wife leads an indifferent life, goes somewhere else, then the householder does not have any duty to that wife. They don't have to rush to the person as a duty because he is married. You have to have one or two children, maintain the children, rear them up till they are grown, and also maintain the livelihood of the family, of the wife, as long as she is alive, not for 1 or 2 years. If she is a chaste wife, then the wife has to maintain till the end, make a provision till the end, so that if the householder is gone, here by householder, Sri Ramakrishna pointing out to the male members of the household. So the male members have a responsibility to their children, to their wife, as long as the wife, as long as she is alive, maintain her livelihood, financial protection. That's all, nothing else. Financial protection should be there, and afterwards, the husband and wife should have a conjugal life as spiritual partners. Because the goal is to realize God. The goal is not to enjoy life here. This we have to understand. It is meant for only those who want to realize God. Those who want to enjoy life and go birth and death cycle, they are left out. Sri Ramakrishna is pointing this principle to those human beings who want to fulfill their goal of their life, to see God in this very life. Be it householder or sannyasins. Sannyasins' discipline is prescribed. Pure renunciation. Nirjala Ekadashi. Stop, nothing else. They have to be very strict, have their purity in thought, word and deed, and detachment from wealth and lust. And hold their life, not only that, and hold their life as an illustration. They should not appear to be involved in any unnatural affairs. Should not appear also. So it is not enough, this our President Maharaj used to say. We used to argue. We are leading a pure life, sometimes we are mistaken. We are misinterpreted. People tell ill of others, ill of us, without any rhyme or reason. So it is our fault. He said, no, you have to be having a life which should appear good also. It is not enough that you are good. You have to appear as good also. You have to be careful that none of your behavior, conduct gives a wrong message. You have to be conscious about the surroundings. So it is a very difficult thing in this world. So here Sri Ramakrishna is saying that this has to be maintained, provided, because if a sannyasin wants to realize God, he must remember that tyage naike amritatta manashu. By renunciation alone immortality is attained. It's not a small matter. And he has demonstrated in his life, in the lives of his disciples, both householder and sannyasin. He has maintained. Sri Ramakrishna was the God incarnate, purity personified, but he demonstrated a life of renunciation, both for householders and sannyasis. He was an ideal sannyasin and ideal householder, two in one. Is a anutha jivan, unparalleled life. Both of the householders and sannyasis see their model in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. Now he says, for example, for instances, I am not getting any details, not necessary, that a sannyasin should not sit for long with women. Now, when the devotees come, what should they do? Sri Ramakrishna did it himself. He has shown the way. In Dakshineshwar, anybody was welcome, either the householder, a sannyasin, male or female, children. He says, when a woman devotee comes and sits here for long, then I suggest her, you go and see the buildings. I don't sit with her for long. If she does not go, then with a plea I go out, so that she is not heard. I say, now I have to go to toilet. You see, how careful he was. But nevertheless, he didn't compromise with the norms. He says, when a woman devotee comes and sits for long, even for spiritual discussion, after a while I tell her to go and see make pranam to the temples. If she does not understand, then I go out with a plea. They have to take a drink, or I have to go to toilet, I have to go to make pranam, etc. But I do not sit. So like that, the strict discipline has to be followed from the both parties. And the householder also has to understand. First of all, it has to understand and hear what is the message, what they are supposed to do. Nobody has taught them this way ever before. It is not found in any scripture in this our history to such details, instruction, so that they can realize God. So householder has a strict discipline also. It's not easy to stay with a wife and maintain this purity after they have their children. He has given detailed instruction that if the wife is not chaste, if the wife does not follow these norms, then it is not the duty of householder to satisfy her demands. That wives are of two varieties. One is Vidyasri, another is Avidyasri. Now Sri Ramakrishna says the householders cannot identify who is a Vidyasri, who is an Avidyasri. He says here, a householder has various debts to gods, fathers, etc. And has a debt to wife also. He should make her the mother of one or two children and support her if she is a chaste woman. Now, how to make a differentiation? He says here, householders do not know who is a good wife and who is a bad wife. All the wives are taken as the same category. No. Who's a Vidya Shakti and who is an Avidya Shakti? The two Shaktis. Vidya Shakti leads the husband to the goal of realization of God. Avidya Shakti leads the husband to worldliness. So the householder has to support the Vidya Shakti and diffuse the Avidya Shakti. Otherwise he cannot proceed. So this is a very embarrassing and sensitive issue, but it cannot be ignored. It is never discussed. But our goal is to realize God, irrespective of householder and sannyasis. So we have to understand the message in detail, what Sri Ramakrishna is telling us, what is expected of us. So here he in detail describes that who is a Vidya Shakti and who is an Avidya Shakti, which will be elaborated in our next Sunday class. Niranjanam nityam ananta rupam bhaktanukampa vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamedyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. This announcement, there will be class for the youth in the afternoon and guided meditation, and after the Arati there will be chorus songs, and as usual on the next Friday we will have the class for Sarada Sangha, Maki Madhusmitiya, and in the evening Narad Bhakti Sutra. And on Saturday we have Kali Kirtan. Let's close now with the chanting of the Lord. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om. Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om Ramakrishna, Hari Om.